Well, I don't know if you've ever been accused of talking to yourself. I have. And I saw a sign once that said, well, of course I talk to myself. I have to get expert advice somewhere. Interestingly enough, Job here is really talking to himself, isn't he? I mean, that's what he's doing. He's speaking to himself, speaking to God. We're kind of overhearing it. Literally speaking, it's a soliloquy. You're talking to yourself, but other people are listening. This is a very dark passage. It's hard to think about. We don't really want to face it, do we? That's really like dark times, isn't it? We don't want to think about them. Sometimes when people go
Sometimes when I'm even very positive, I ask negative questions.
Oh, yes we can, don't we? Negativity is always there, isn't it? Well, sometimes we don't help people in need sometimes because we don't want that get close to those negative things. This is really hard. Life can be really hard, kids. It can be very painful, and we would rather not think about it. Especially in our world today, we don't want to think about it. We're blessed, aren't we? We don't want to think about hard things. This week, some very terrible things happened. Painful things. Things we'd rather not think about. Things we don't want to have to face. And Job was in that situation. And he said some things that, well, maybe we felt that. Maybe we felt that way sometimes. Wouldn't want to maybe admit it, but it's something that sometimes goes through our hearts and our minds. You know, birthday's something we should celebrate, right?
Right.
Isn't it great? Even when you're getting old like me, when people remember your birthday, they call you or send you a card. It's nice to be thought of.
And Valentine's
It's a day to celebrate, isn't it? A day to celebrate our life. Of course, we're thankful for our conception, but the day of the birth is what we remember and what we celebrate. What we're thankful for. It reminds us of how good God has been to give us life. That it's a gift. Life is a gift. It's a blessing. It's something to celebrate. We celebrate each other. We celebrate life. We celebrate the birth of everyone. And maybe you can remember just thinking about the birth of your children. What a blessing that was. Can you remember that day? And I'm sure for moms it was a challenging day, right? But it was such a blessing when the child came. What a blessing. Well, Job's in a dark place. He's lamenting. He's cursing the day he was born.
Cursing?
He's saying, yes, he's saying a curse on the day he was born. He's saying it's bad. He wishes it never happened. He's cursing it. He's saying let it be dark. And if you look at the rhythm of this passage, it's kind of like the opposite of creation story, right? It began, let there be light. And it ended with what? The day of rest? Right? What does Job say? I have no peace, no quietness, I have no rest, but only turmoil. Turmoil, yeah. That means hard things. Everything being difficult. No rest. So here we see his suffering, and he basically goes over it. Maybe you felt this way. Can you identify this deep hurt that he's feeling? Isn't it good to know that the Bible identifies with this deep hurt? And more than that Jesus identifies with our deep hurt. He identifies with our pain and our suffering. Remember what Jesus said on the cross? My God, why have you forsaken me? God understands our pain, and he takes it on himself. He enters into it. He suffers with us. Can't fix it. It's really, I mean, he can fix it, but he can't take it away. He sent Jesus to take it for us. But in this life, we still experience it. And that's what Job is talking about here.
Right.
He's saying he shouldn't have been born. He shouldn't have been conceived. It was a terrible day. But then there is some hope, isn't there? Because he begins to ask questions. We talked about that last week. He asked questions. Why did I not perish at birth?
Cherish?
Why was there a mother to receive me? Why was I not hid? He asked questions. Why is light given to those in misery and life through bitter soul? There's a little bit of hope there, isn't there?
Right.
He begins to ask questions. He's not giving up on his God. And really, well, the next several chapters will be that journey of Job asking questions. Well, yes, he is seeking for an audience with God. He really wants an umpire. He feels like God hasn't been fair. He wants someone to intercede for him because he doesn't feel like he has a chance. He wants an umpire to intercede for him. And then he has his friends, and we'll go through that. But I want to see that Job, even though he is in deep despair, he has some hope. He's holding on to hope. He's still seeking God. He's sharing his heart. He's being real and genuine. And that is something that we can relate with. Now, here's the thing. What we really struggle with, I believe, is that life is good, isn't it?
Right.
Most of the time, life is good.
Right.
And then when something happens, when something bad happens, it gets really hard, doesn't it? And when we miss someone, or something goes awry, that's very painful. And what does that remind us of? Well, this isn't heaven, is it? That's what it reminds us, isn't it? This world isn't a perfect place. It is a place between the time when Jesus first came and when he's going to return. We have that to look forward to. We have Jesus' return to look forward to. We're not there yet. We're not to the place where God wants us yet. There is something coming that's better. I want us to look at this verse. But I marked it.
Hopefully this notebook is good. Good night. Hopefully fractions.
I should have marked it. This is it. Job 19, verse 25. He says, I know that my Redeemer lives, and that in the end he will stand upon the earth. And after my skin has been destroyed, yet in my flesh, I myself will see God. I myself will see him with my own eyes, I and not another, how my heart yearns within me. That's how we feel, isn't it? We yearn for that day when Jesus will return. He died. He suffered like we do often. He suffered more than anyone. He experienced hell on the cross. My God, why have you forsaken me? He rose again, and he's coming back, and that's what we had to look forward to. Even when life gets hard, we have that hope. We look forward to that reunion day. How awesome is that? How awesome is it that we have a God who really identifies with our pain? We don't like to think about it. We don't want to dwell on it. We don't want to go there. We'd rather avoid it most of the time. But we have to face it. And Jesus faced it. And Job faced it. And Jesus is with us in it. And He's with us in this life and all the challenges that it brings. He's with us and He helps us. He empowers us. And then we have this hope. When life is finished, that we will be with God in heaven because of Jesus Christ. Because we've repented of our sin. Because we've told God we're sorry for our sin. Because we've trusted Jesus' death, His payment of the price for sin, and we trusted in His resurrection. We have this hope. And that's something to look forward to. So these are powerful things. That we have a God who knows our pain. Even though we don't like to think about it, He enters into our pain. He feels our pain. He identifies with our pain. He feels it. He's there for us. He loves us. He walks with us. And eventually there'll be victory. This world will be overcome. We have that to look forward to. And we have that, the joy and blessings of God walking with us. That is a blessing, isn't it? Of Him being near to us, helping us along the way, blessing us with His power and His presence. God is good, isn't He? Even if this life, right, isn't what we wish it would be. What is that? We're groaning for heaven, aren't we? Isn't that what we really want? And that's why we hurt. We groan for that. When life is hard, we groan for that. When things aren't going well here, we groan for that. This isn't heaven. This is the time between the time between Jesus' first coming and His return. And that's what we look forward to. That's why we groan. But isn't it good that Jesus is with us? He walks with us. He understands. He goes with us through this life. And there is great joy in this life because of Him. Because He's with us. But this is not it. This life is not it. Heaven is what we're destined for. Remember, God created Eden. It was a perfect place. He walked with Adam and Eve. And they disobeyed, right? That's the freedom of choice. And that's why we live in this broken world. But it's going to be restored. It's going to be better, isn't it? The dwelling of God will be with man, and we will have something to celebrate. So I want you to remember this. This life can be unbearably painful. Jesus knows, feels our pain, and He gave us the hope of heaven. This life can be unbearably painful. Jesus knows and feels our pain. He gave us the hope of heaven. That's a great hope. Something that we can celebrate. God's goodness and His love. Let's wait upon the Lord this morning. Isn't it good that God accepts us wherever we're at? So it's good to wait upon Him, to let Him speak to us, to speak to Him. I don't know what's on your mind today. Maybe you can identify with Mr. Dove here. You think, Ben, life is hard. It hurts. Express that to God. He understands. He feels it. He loves you in the midst of it. Share with God what's in your heart.